I suddenly got it. I suddenly understood how the body's protection program actually works. And it didn't happen during meditation or reading from a book. It happened in a forest in shorts and sandals, surrounded by poison ivy, while my neighbor stood at the edge, watching and waiting for the welts that never arrived. See, that moment didn't just change how my body responds to plants. It changed how I understand everything: fear, presence, even what you'd call reality. And by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly why you've been doing the same thing, guarantee you, in places you'd never expect. So stay with me. See, my wife and I moved from downtown Toronto to a waterfront property in Ontario. It was all limestone. And where there's limestone, there's poison ivy, lots of it. And I'd become severely allergic years earlier racing mountain bikes. With my shins cutting through wild vegetation at speed, yeah, the reaction was real, aggressive, and really painful. So when I kept finding poison ivy at our home, I went looking for answers. And what I found stopped me cold in my tracks. And it's going to stop you too, because it means everything you think you know about how your body protects itself is only half the story. See, the blisters aren't a reaction to the plant. They're a protection mechanism. The plant has urushiol acid on it. So what the body's doing is it's creating a barrier. It's against a perceived threat. And perceived being the key word. See, that was my doorway in. Because if the body is responding to what it believes is a threat, the question isn't how do I avoid the plant? The question now becomes, what does the body believe? And the more important question really is, can that belief be changed? Right? Not mentally, but in the body as an actual felt experience. And from my experience, the answer is yes, it can. But not in the way most people try to do this. See, I was working specifically with one thing, and that was safety. Right? And the safety had to be something I felt in my body, real, fully embodied. And this is the part I never really gave a second thought to. Right? How safe did I really feel? And it's the reason everything else I'd tried didn't really work. Because you can say I'm safe with your mouth while your nervous system is running a completely different program underneath it all day long. Right? Your body doesn't respond to captions and banners. It responds to the signal that you're sending out. And that signal lives in your breath, in your posture, in the places where you're clenching without knowing you're clenching. And Bruce Lipton's been saying this for years. HeartMath has the data to back it. Your body isn't overreacting. It's responding perfectly, faithfully, and intelligently to what it believes is true. Whether it's the exhaustion you're carrying, the hypervigilance, the tension that never quite leaves, none of these are character flaws. It's simply the cost of running a protection program all the time, 24/7, against a threat that may no longer exist. Change what the body believes and the program stops running. You can't do this with willpower, right? That's the catch. It has to be done by actually feeling safe and truly feeling safe in your body, not just thinking it. So after about 6 months of breathwork, meditation, and catching my belief patterns in action and correcting them, I went back into the forest, right? Shorts, sandals, totally vulnerable. And my neighbor watched the whole thing in panic. He generally thought I'd lost my mind. And he came back 2 days later to check the welts, and there was none, absolutely nothing. And he still didn't believe it. But here's the key takeaway, and this is where it stops being about plants. This isn't like a party trick or I have some special power. See, what happened in the forest is precisely what the Lucid Dreamer, or every framework I've ever built, points at. Your nervous system is the signal keeper, not your willpower or your vision board. It's your vagus nerve. And if that system is running a threat response, you can meditate 6 hours a day and still broadcast the same signal of danger, right? The field doesn't read your intentions, it reads your actual frequency. And Dr. Stephen Porges, he's mapped this in clinical detail. He called it neuroception, the body's ability to detect safety or threat without conscious thought. And this happens before you even know you're reading the room, right? Your nervous system it's already done it. It's all based on tone, posture, breath, presence. Your body's a resonance instrument, and it's tuned to vibration, and it's running constantly. And what it broadcasts into the field is not what you say. It's what you've been wired with over years, sometimes decades. And it's what you really believe is true. And here's the reversal that was often overlooked, right? Your body can't tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly felt as real. And that's not a spiritual theory, it's actually neuroscience. And that's why trauma loops keep running. Because the nervous system still believes that it's happening, right? You can sit in a perfectly safe room and still feel like the threat is live. But here's what that same mechanism makes possible, and I missed for such a long time. Healing works exactly the same way, right? You can feel safety before the circumstances change. You can wire the body to a new belief before the world provides the evidence. And when you do, you're transmitting, you're sending out a signal reality now understands. You're giving the field a new signal to organize itself around. You don't feel better because your life changes. Your life changes because you feel better, and actually at the level of the nervous system. The key is it has to be real, not acted, right? This is not a situation where you can fake it till you make it. That doesn't apply here. In the Lucid Dreamer, I call this the signal beneath the signal. Most people are trying to change their lives at the wrong layer. They're working on the thought, their strategy, the plan, right? Well, underneath all of it, your nervous system's still running its original code, still expecting danger, still wiring every new situation through the same old threat script. And the field, whether you call it quantum, biological, relational, spiritual, always mirrors the most consistent signal, right? The deepest truth that your body actually believes. And this is why affirmations usually don't work. You can't create safety in your life when you have a nervous system that's still running threat responses. The body has to feel it first. And once you understand that, you're going to start seeing this pattern somewhere you've probably never thought to look, right? Where else are you doing this? Where else is your body running a protection program against something that was never actually a threat? I'll give you one example. And I really want you to notice your own reaction as I say it, because your reaction is a clue, right? Let's think about the sun. We've spent decades teaching the body to fear it, slathering ourselves with chemical barriers before we walk outside, treating direct sunlight, the very thing every living system on this planet is calibrated to receive, and we've been treating as a danger to be managed, right? The very thing that regulates your circadian rhythm, that triggers vitamin D synthesis, that your nervous system has been reading as safe for 10,000 years of human biology. We've taught the body to perceive it as threat. And the body, being faithful, intelligent, and responsive, believes us. And it's the same mechanism, different plant, right? The blisters aren't the problem. The sunscreen isn't the solution. The perception is the operating system. And we've been updating it in the wrong direction. And I'm not telling you what to put on your skin. I'm asking you to notice the pattern. Because once you see it in the forest, you can't stop seeing it. The sun, your bare feet on the earth, the cold water, the darkness, the silence. All things the body was built to metabolize, and if we layer fear over them, they start to feel dangerous. So what would it mean to feel safe in your own natural world, right? That's what 6 months of working with felt safety gave me. Not immunity from plants, the recognition that my body had been running a program, and that programs can be rewritten, not by thinking differently, but by feeling differently. And when it's at the level of the nervous system, real and embodied. Here's another quick example. Before I pressed record today, I ran the same practice I run before I do any of my work. I use my Tibetan singing bowl, which sets the frequency, a meditation, quick meditation, and I set the intention. And this is done as a direct signal to my heart space, a felt experience of safety before I stepped into the unknown. Because this camera is an environment too. And every environment asks the same question of your nervous system. Am I safe here? Now, most people answer that question unconsciously with whatever program is already running. You can choose how you want to answer it. And when you do, your relationship with the forest changes, with the sun changes. Your relationship changes inside the room you've been afraid to walk into. That's the whole practice. That's the forest. That's the sun. That's the Monday morning when nothing feels sacred. And the body, when it's finally regulated, finally free of the old program, discovers that everything is sacred. So drop a comment. Tell me where your body doesn't feel safe in the natural world, or in the world you're trying to build. I read everything. The framework behind all of this lives in the Lucid Dreamer. Link